Last year, this time around, the world did not know of Julian Assange, but this man is all over the place today. He basically inside the closets of big name people and big weapon nations. Wikileaks. It is the punchline these days. Therefore, we thought it is very much timely to allocate our tonight's outlook to discuss about Wikileaks. For this purpose, I am being joined by my usual friend Malinda Seneviratne. Good evening to you, Malinda.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And as I am talking to Malinda, you can join with us and you can share your thoughts on Wikileaks on SMS by typing PTV space, TRT space and send your message to 9922. PTV space, TRT space and send your message to 9922 to share your thoughts. As I said, Malinda, Wikileaks has taken everyone by surprise. While this 39-year-old Australian is capable of attacking the US and bringing basically the US morality in warfare down to his knees, on the other hand, he is trying to create division among the Arab nations, and the Israelis are cheering him. And also he is taking few cables out of the lesser known smaller countries like Sri Lanka, and how US has treated the Sri Lankan situation, and of course is looking at the Asian big giants like India and China. Like I said at the very outset, the last year Julian Assange was not in our vocabulary. We didn't know who he was, and however he was smart enough to make the breakthrough mid this year. So when you really look at the Wikileaks fiasco, there are many dimensions that you can comment about. However, I read your recent article to Lagbima newspaper, which is titled "Let's Be Real About Wikileaks, Shall We?" And there you start saying, at the start you are saying, I'm not gung-ho about Wikileaks. So you being a media person of repute, you mean to say that you are not very much worried about Wikileaks, you are not excited about Wikileaks. Why is that?
It's good to be sober, isn't it? The Atalodhama and all that. It's still early days, and you have to take the whole picture as it is emerging, and see what is really. It is exciting in a perverse kind of way, because a lot of things that was not in the public eye suddenly coming into the public domain. But on the other hand, this is not news to people who have been reading the alternative, browsing the alternative media. All the revelations, so called, were already known. I mean, what's news about the atrocities that are taking place in Afghanistan, for example? What's news about various ambassadors, diplomats saying nasty things about certain countries? We already knew that. So there's also the other dimension that the leaks are being structured. It's been vetted by big name newspaper industries like New York Times. And you also get the situation where Wikileaks embarrasses certain people, but in limited ways. It can embarrass the United States, but what is new about what has been said about the United States? Nothing drastic. Also, who is happiest about Wikileaks right now in the international stage? Israel. Why? Because Wikileaks has shown that gives the impression that all Arab nations are worried, really worried about Iran's nuclear program. Whereas, who are these people? They are monarchs, they are despots, they are autocratic regimes which are not responsible, which are not answerable to their people. Whereas 80% of the people in the Arab world don't have a problem with Iran, they have a problem with Israel. But the Israeli Prime Minister is very happy about it. So there are all kinds of dimensions to this. So you can be happy that the United States ambassador was caught on the wrong foot or something like that. But when you look at the large picture, I don't think that there's too much to be excited about.
Mm-hmm. Well, perhaps for a person like you, who is a journalist who does research on these kind of issues, and who is not a privy to these kind of issues, it wouldn't be a surprise. But for the common man, for the ordinary people, to find that a website to divulge these issues, and the mainstream media go on bandwagon and capture what is being found in the WikiLeaks and make it public has basically changed many opinions in the international stage. In your opinion, what would have been the objective of the WikiLeaks owner Julian Assange? At times he attacks the US, at times he attacks another country, at times he takes a different angle to a situation. What would have been his objective?
I'm not Julian Assange, so I really don't know.
How would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, it's, as I said, there seems it is not as random as it seems, right? It seems to be structured. You know, where is who's funding him? Where is the money coming from? Is it as random as it appears to be? Those are questions that have not yet been resolved. So, what are his objectives? Well, he says certain things. He says that, you know, he is supposed to be the guru or the prophet of involuntary transparency. So, one would expect that anything goes. Anything that is said in secret, in confidence can come out, which theoretically is not a bad thing. Truth is better than falsehood. Truth is better than lie. Better to know than not to know. Better for it to be out, right? So, the United States says that, you know, this can feed, empower the terrorists. That's up to who is a terrorist. I don't know who the bigger terrorist is, Osama bin Laden or you know, certain Western governments. So, theoretically it has the potential to be a very big thing and a very democratizing and freeing thing. But as things stand now, you talked about the mainstream media. The mainstream media is very careful about what to highlight and what to downplay in this whole WikiLeaks you know, eruption of, you know, all kinds of information that people thought you know, was not happening, that they didn't know about. So I'm a bit reserved about it, and I think everyone should be.
Mm-hmm. Well, you talked about the involuntary transparency, and actually you call him a prophet of involuntary.
I'm not the one who calls him. He's been called that.
Well, now involuntary transparency. That is a question mark. Even in general media, we have certain ethics that you will not divulge sensitive issues. But he has given a precedence to this concept of divulging very sensitive issues, which can probably create a situation where two countries would go loggerheads and fight each other. So, to what extent we can justify? People can say the public has a right to information, but sensitive information being leaked out in this magnitude can create problems.
Well, people like sensationalism, people like sensation, and newspapers thrive, and media institutions thrive on sensationalism. And to the extent that, you know, people go to town about private lives, sexual behavior of you know, big name people, you know, Bill Clinton or whoever, and that is news, and we talk about the ethics of that. We should talk about the ethics of this also. I'm not denying that, but is it any different? Is it going to change things too much? If you don't talk about the sources, if you hush because, you know, it's not nice, still people are getting killed. I don't think more people are going to die because we know that the United States wanted and has a systematic operation of atrocity in Afghanistan. I don't think knowing that changes anything. Not knowing that won't stop or cause wars. That's a different thing. But it's good to know, because then people can't speak in two tongues. They have to say something and do that, you know. So that's much better, isn't it?
Well, now in the same coin, what does involuntary transparency imply for the future?
Well, your life and my life are what's in our closets might come out, right? We can argue about, you know, whether that's a good thing or bad thing. People don't like, people like their little bit of privacy and so on. But to the extent that certain information being hidden can cause problems, getting it out is better. What WikiLeaks has done, I think, is opened a different dimension to the business of information and transparency. It means that everyone has to be careful. They have to be careful about what they say. They have to be careful about their emails, right? So when you can't be just be a loose cannon anymore, right? Julian Assange, tomorrow he might be run over by a truck or something. He's not going to be shot because he's too big a name to be shot. He might be run over by a truck. Already we have this case against him. But what WikiLeaks shows is the potential. WikiLeaks is just one operation. There could be hundreds of such operations, right? So that means that the world is going to be opened up. All the cupboards are going to be opened up. You can't keep things under lock and key anymore. So that makes people more accountable. People have to be more responsible.